Hey everyone, so welcome for our very next talk. This time it's from Algorand, so please big applause to Alessandro for coming over and taking the stage to take us through Algorand and how you can work with it and the dev experience while doing that and yeah, be an Algorand developer. The stage is yours.
Thank you very much. So, hi everyone. I'm Alessandro, head of product at the Algorand Foundation, and I'm here to talk about developer experience and how we are solving developer experience with AlgoKit. So, first and foremost, I've joined the foundation a bit more than a year ago, and how I usually start with products is we start with what is the state of the art currently. What we had was, and if many of you or any of you had the opportunity to go through our teaching courses, you have experienced this. Our tooling was good, but it was kind of problematic. We had our local network, local node, sandbox that took tens of minutes to start on a cold boot. This is not something you want as an experience. Testing was extremely difficult. Debugging was nearly impossible. And of course, there is the deployment phase. The deployment phase was more akin to what a deployment experience in the 90s. You had to compile the PyTeal down to teal, upload the approval and clear program, craft manual transactions, and add all the fields that were missing. This is not something you'd want to in after the year 2000, to be honest. So we started thinking, and we identified 4 key steps in the developer journey: onboarding, coding, testing, and deployment. I was a former software engineer, not great at it. That's why I switched on the product side. But during my tenure as a software engineer, I had the opportunity to onboard a lot of junior devs and interns to new repos. Our problem was that onboarding a new developer was pretty much a work of 3 hours per repo, because software engineering and libraries aren't straightforward. You always fall into the issue that version X of this program doesn't work well with version Y of this program. And then you spend 2 hours debugging it. Ain't that fun? So we started and we decided this is the developer journey. Let's tackle it one by one. So we went back to the start. My mindset is always look at the past to improve the future. Whilst blockchains are relatively new, we're talking 10, 12 years, programming is not. So we shouldn't reinvent the wheel. We started looking in the 90s, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript was born. And then we started looking at the frameworks that built what we call the internet now. Ruby on Rails, Ruby framework, has given us GitHub, Twitter, Shopify. Django has given us Spotify, has given us Instagram. These are the frameworks that make developers productive. They are fast in development, but they have the problem that they are slow at runtime. We'll get back to this later. So we came up with AlgoKit. Name's not that great, but it's better as an experience. As every product, we have set core principles. Core principles are necessary when you are not sure which road to take. So we set, first core principle was it needs to be easy to maintain. This means that every AlgoKit component should be loosely coupled with each other and not completely dependent with each other. This means that we can have parallel teams to develop it at the same time. And if an individual contributor wants to start contributing it, it's not as a daunting of a task as it is for a huge program. Another core principle is that it needs to be secure by default. So if you develop, it will, sooner or later, it will happen that you unfortunately commit an API key to GitHub. What happens in Web 2 is you generate a new API key. It's not a problem. If by mistake you commit to GitHub a mnemonic for a wallet, then all of a sudden you get your wallet drained. You get your application hacked. So security by default and encouraging best practices on the security was principle. And one of the last core principles that we put, and the most important for our strategy, is meet developers where they are. As I said, programming has existed since the dawn of ages. Let's not reinvent the wheel. Let's not have a new language. Let's use what people already know, because blockchain programming is already difficult by itself. If you add on top of that the need to learn a new language, then people will discourage, and probably they won't come. So, we released AlgoKit. What happened? Version 1 to 1.4. Our key goal for version 1 was to tackle developer onboarding like no one else. We set the goal of having the developer from, okay, I want to try this thing, to I am debugging code in AlgoKit in 10 minutes. This phase took quite some months, because we are supporting Linux, Mac, and also Windows. With onboarding, this falls back to the developer mentality. There is such a plethora of options that a developer can choose from that if something doesn't work right off the gate, you have already lost them. So we focused a lot on that. Then, after the onboarding was complete and version 1 was working, we started focusing on nice things to have. Version 1.1 and 1.2 was all about type deployment clients. Once you've developed a smart contract, then what? A dApp is composed as a front end, a middleware, which is how your front end interacts with the smart contract, and then the smart contract. So with type deployment clients, we took the time of crafting a way to program in smart contracts for Algorand, with which you could type in the command AlgoKit generate client, and all of a sudden your smart contract gets packaged up and into code, either Python or TypeScript, that everyone can use, and you can build front ends on top of it. AlgoKit 1.3 was the next evolution, front ends. So we realized, okay, now that we have the middleware, we can start actually helping you out with the front ends. We give you a React template that already has the wallet connections baked in, and it already speaks with your smart contract. So that it's extremely easy to integrate a front end, whatever it may be, to your stack. What is the end of year roadmap? Because we are still in the 1.x phase and gearing up towards 2.0. Two things. Debugging, almost impossible in Algorand. We are taking care of that. We will be releasing soon a debugger for Teal, which is the compiled language, which will greatly help developers, simply because now you're not printing statements to understand what your code is doing. You actually see how it interacts with the virtual machine, how it interacts with the stack. And second, this is not completely relevant to core programming, but it's a quality of life improvement that no other chain has. If you want to develop on Ethereum and you need testnet ETH, you can't have it. You need to buy it with real money to have the possibility to test your application in a testing environment. It's insane. It shouldn't be like this. Every other chain has a dispenser that you click. You click a button, you complete a CAPTCHA, you get RSI from it because it drip feeds you the amount of tokens that you need. We are automating this. As simple as that. You will be able to call an API, get the tokens that you need, and to ensure the integrity of testnet, we will, if you give them back after your testing, the next time around, you can borrow more. So we are trying to teach developers to take care of testnet, because it's not like a staging environment in Web 2 where you can wipe it and then deploy an instance of production. If we have to reset testnet, you lose all the contracts that were there, and other protocols should redeploy them. This is a pain, because if you have to test interoperability with another protocol and that protocol doesn't exist anymore in testnet, all of a sudden you cannot do it. So we're trying to maintain the integrity of testnet with automation while simplifying the experience for developers. Now, AlgoKit 2.0. We are aiming a late Q4 beta release for AlgoKit 2.0. As I mentioned in the previous slides, in the developer journey, we have onboarding, testing, deploying. Deployment we took care with AlgoKit deploy. All of a sudden, you want to deploy your smart contract? You just type AlgoKit deploy. Simple as that. It doesn't need to take 30 minutes and a rocket scientist to do it. You want to test it? We have created the AlgoKit utils libraries. Clean, simple, and sane testing for your smart contracts and application. Onboarding, we took care with AlgoKit init, which has all of the installs every dependency for you, and we test those dependencies across all systems to ensure that you don't fall into dependency hell. The last part is coding. So within our bootcamps, within our ACE programs, within all the initiatives we have to onboard new developers, we always heard the same feedback. PyTeal is difficult. PyTeal is a higher level language that compiles down to Teal, which is the native Algorand virtual machine language. The problem that we have with PyTeal is that it has some syntaxes from Python, some syntaxes from Teal. So as a developer, you cannot simply go ahead and focus on one single language. You always need to context switch within your mind to actually try and make it. And this makes it cumbersome, difficult, and counterintuitive. So last week at Token 2049, John Woods announced what we're going to do with AlgoKit 2.0, which is pure vanilla Python. This, which if you take a gander at the image behind it, this is actually the first initial internal contract that has vanilla Python. And if you look at it, it looks like Python, it feels like Python, and it works like Python. This is a complete tectonic shift in our approach, because before we had to grab developers from all kind of life and all kind of ways, teach them blockchain programming, teach them Teal, because you need to understand Teal, and hope they know Python, and then tell them what is the balance of Python and Teal that you need. This is vanilla Python. So this brings our total addressable market of developers to, the numbers say, roughly 10 million, because Python is replacing Java in the Programming 101 courses, in the CompSci 101 courses in universities. Machine learning engineers use Python, data scientists use Python. In the end of it, Python is the second best language for every single possible programming experience that you need. So we're extremely happy to have people try it out. It's gonna be out hopefully real soon in beta, and we will be building it with the community feedback. So if you're interested, reach out. It's gonna be real fun. But there is a key thing here that is behind the scenes. As we did with the initial release of AlgoKit, laying solid foundations to then build on top fun things. We did the same with Python. So in programming, it exists. There's something called the LLVM, which is a way to get languages, whatever language, to compile to whatever other language. We took a similar approach. We took a look to the LLVM, and it was good, but it was not geared towards the Algorand virtual machine. It was not geared towards TEAL. So integrating that would have required way more work than actually starting it from scratch and doing something way more tailored and way more performant than Algorand. So we did our own. What does it mean? This means that once we release Python, we can quickly start integrating Rust, TypeScript, Solidity, Golang, whatever language, and all of a sudden, instead of taking 1 year to do this, it'll take 3 months. And what is the key thing? For all languages that integrate at the top of the stack, all the improvements that we do at all the various transpiler and compiling stages will net benefit every single other language. So this is gearing us towards the next 20, 30 years of blockchain development. So yeah, this is what we're working. If you are interested, we are running bootcamps. The next one is in 2 weeks. We have a global hackathon that was just announced. You can win up to 30,000. The grand prize is a total of $200,000. Teams can win up to $25,000 each. Please enjoy, come check us out, and if you have any other questions, I'm here, just let me know.
Do you want to do a quick Q&A or no?
Well, if someone has questions,
okay, because we actually have some time. Thanks for the talk. Does somebody have a question? If so, now's the chance. Raise your hand. I know that you have many, Philip. Yeah, you look so confused. What is Algorand?
So thanks a lot for the great talk. Looking forward to deploy the first smart contracts in Python and see what the future brings. But my question will go in the direction of firstly versioning and backwards compatibility, because from what I experience, you're always adding new features also to the AVM, new releases. How do you ensure this compatibility in the long run as well?
Yeah, we have the beautiful problem, which is not a problem in this case, of compiling down to TEAL. So as long as the TEAL is still valid TEAL for the AVM, everything is backwards compatible. And that is the key differentiator between AlgoKit and all the frameworks I was mentioning. AlgoKit can be a behemoth, even though it isn't, on the development stage and help you out to develop as quickly as possible, because then we have the luck of everything compiling down to TEAL. And TEAL is faster than anything else there is. It's faster than WebAssembly. It's faster than Solidity bytecode. So we are compiling down to TEAL. And as long as the TEAL is backwards compatible, and it is, we don't have problems with backwards compatibility.
Any other questions? Oh, there's actually one. Awesome.
Since you say that TEAL is such a good low-level language, why are you so against having a higher-level language of your own? So Algorand, higher-level language just for Algorand.
Because it's a difficult endeavor. You can say yes, let's build a high-level language built only for Algorand, but what does that mean? It means that you need to have linters that works, extensions for syntax highlighting that work. You need to have debuggers that work. You need to have testing suites that work. It's not just simply, yes, let's develop one other language. It's all of a sudden you need to create an entire developer experience, and then you have developers that will need to learn that entire developer experience, which is something that could be looked at. But at the end of it, we don't really think it's worth it. TEAL is astonishing, but it's low level, and it's really difficult and scary because you can do dangerous things. So it's, if you don't know what to do with teal, you can break stuff. So that's why we're adopting the everyone knows Python, everyone knows X language. You can do it fully, it works perfectly, and here we go.
Awesome. Thanks for taking the QA as well. Big applause to Alessandro for introducing us to Algorand.
Thank you very much.
And also a mug for you.